You know that idea we've heard our whole lives? Work hard, study a lot, get a good job, and life will turn out fine. Yeah, it sounds logical, right? But that formula hasn't been working so well these days. Take João, for example. He's a rideshare driver who wakes up before the sun rises and only gets home when the city is already asleep. He works like a lion, does overtime, drives until his fingers hurt from gripping the steering wheel. And even so, by the end of the month, the money barely covers the bills. He actually earns a decent income, but the money slips through his fingers like water. Now think about Fernanda. She's an engineer, has a good salary, health insurance, a year-end bonus, but she's always in debt. Why? Because no matter how much she earns, if she doesn't know what to do with that money, it's going to disappear just the same. It's like trying to fill a sieve. That's what Robert Kiyosaki teaches us right at the beginning of the video. It's not how much you earn that determines your wealth, but what you do with what you earn. The truth is that working hard is important, of course. But working hard without direction, without a financial strategy, is like running on a treadmill. You sweat, get tired, wear yourself out, but you don't get anywhere. And here's the curious part. Many people who earn little sometimes accumulate more wealth than those who earn a lot, simply because they know how to use what they have better. So before thinking about earning more money, the first step is to change the way you see and use the money you already have. Because, as Kiyosaki warns, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you can keep and grow. This is a classic mistake many people make, and it keeps thousands trapped in a false sense of wealth. Think buying a new house or a new car is an investment? Robert Kiyosaki says, most of the time, it's not. Let me tell you Mike's story. Mike just got a better job and started making $6,000 a month. Excited about the new phase, he went straight to the bank and financed a brand new car for $45,000. Then he felt obligated to buy a bigger house. He took out a $350,000 mortgage with payments that'll last 30 years. And of course, to furnish it all, he put another $10,000 on his credit card. Now think about it. The car loses value the moment it leaves the dealership. The house. Besides the mortgage, there's property tax, maintenance, insurance, interest. In other words, money is being drained from his pocket every month. And the most dangerous part, all of this makes Mike feel rich, when in reality, he's sinking deeper into debt. Rich people do it differently. They only buy a new house or car after their assets, investments, businesses, rental properties, stocks, are already generating passive income. In other words, they don't pay for these luxuries out of pocket. Their assets pay for their liabilities. It's like a game. First, you build the machine that generates money. Then with what it produces, you buy comfort. So the next time you think about financing something big, ask yourself, is this going to put money in my pocket or take it out? If it takes money out, then it's a liability, not an investment. Maybe this is the most silent habit of all, and one of the main ones keeping you stuck in the same financial reality. The fear of investing. A lot of people grow up hearing things like, investing is risky. It's something for people who already have a lot of money. I'd rather leave my money sitting. It's safer. And that's exactly where the danger lies. Take Lisa. She's 38, works as a nurse, and earns about $5,000 a month. Every month, she saves part of it, which is great, but she keeps it in a savings account, and that money has been sitting there for years, barely earning anything. Meanwhile, inflation slowly eats away at her purchasing power, cent by cent. In other words, even without spending, she's losing money without realizing it. Now look at David's case. He didn't know anything about investing either, but decided to start small. He bought $50 in shares of a well-known company, then studied a bit more and invested $100 in real estate funds. At first, he was nervous. He checked his account every day, But over time, he began to understand the game. And more importantly, his money started working for him. That's what Kiyosaki talks about. The rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. And don't be fooled. Investing isn't just for millionaires. You can start with $5, $10, $50. The amount is less important than the habit of getting started. It's like learning to swim. At first, it's scary, but then you realize you were wasting time just dipping your toes in. And yes, investing comes with risks, but you know what's even riskier? Spending your entire life depending only on your job to generate income. What if you get sick? What if you get laid off? What if something changes? That's why Kiyosaki insists, don't let fear keep you from growing. The courage to start is what separates those who keep struggling month to month from those who build true financial freedom. And more. Nowadays, with simple apps and accessible platforms, investing is easier than ever. You don't need to understand everything about Wall Street to take the first step. The important thing is to get out of inertia. This part is like a secret revealed by those who truly understand the money game. The more you learn, the less you fear. And when it comes to finances, nothing could be more true. A lot of people don't invest, don't start businesses, and don't even try to improve their financial lives because they're afraid of making mistakes, afraid of losing money, afraid of regretting it. And fear, when not faced, becomes an invisible prison. But Robert Kiyosaki is clear. Fear exists when knowledge is lacking. Take Tom, for example. He had $2,000 saved, but was terrified of investing. What if I lose everything? What if it's a scam? What if it goes wrong? Those questions wouldn't leave his mind. One day, he decided to do something different. Instead of investing the money right away, he invested in knowledge. He bought a book on personal finance, watched YouTube videos, took an online course for $30, and began to understand how compound interest works, the different types of investments, the risks and the strategies. In less than 3 months, he felt more confident, still cautious, but now with a solid foundation. And then he started investing small amounts and seeing results. What changed? Fear gave way to understanding. You don't need to know everything to start, but you need to start to learn. It's like driving. No one gets in a car knowing all the rules. You learn over time with practice and small mistakes. The important thing is not to stay parked waiting for absolute certainty. And here's an important truth. The risk isn't in the investment. It's in the lack of knowledge. If you invest in something you don't understand, the risk is high. But if you study, stay informed, ask questions, read, watch videos like this one, you turn risk into opportunity. And more, financial knowledge isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Today, with so much free information available, not learning has almost become a choice. Every minute you dedicate to learning about money is one less step toward poverty and one more toward freedom. Imagine you have 2 doors in front of you. One is full of opportunities, a wide, clear path with no limitations. The other, well, it's locked with chains, and you can only see a sliver of light coming through. The choice between these 2 doors is a decision you make every day, often without realizing it. The door of opportunity is the mindset of abundance. The other, locked one, is the mindset of scarcity. The difference? What you believe about money and opportunity. When you have a scarcity mindset, you live in fear and limit yourself. You think, there's a finite number of opportunities in the world. When you see someone achieving something you wanted, you think, that person got lucky. That's not for me. I don't have enough money. I don't have time. I can't do it. That mindset makes you work twice as hard and earn half as much. Because you're always focused on what you don't have, instead of what you can do with what you already have. Now, the abundance mindset is totally different. It allows you to see the world as a place full of possibilities. You see someone who achieved something as inspiration, not a threat. You think, if they did it, why couldn't I? What can I learn from this? How can I start small and grow? It's a mindset that leads to action, because people who think with abundance don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They invest in learning, strive to improve every day, and understand that there's no such thing as not enough, only different ways to grow. Robert Kiyosaki is emphatic about this. He doesn't say it's easy, but he says that if you don't change your mindset, nothing will change in your financial life. The secret to earning more isn't just making more money. It's thinking differently. So the question is, which door are you choosing? The one of scarcity or the one of abundance? Here's one of the biggest traps people fall into without realizing it: confusing assets with liabilities. Let's talk about something simple: houses and cars. Everyone loves buying their dream home, that brand new car. But what happens after acquiring these things? What do they actually do for you? Let me explain it better. Let's take the example of Julia and Gabriel. Julia bought a beautiful house. Everything was perfect: a spacious kitchen, a large living room, a lovely garden. She felt fulfilled. But over time, Julia started to notice that she was always paying bills, taxes, maintenance, services. The mortgage she had taken out was always weighing on her budget, and the bills never stopped coming. Not to mention that if anything went wrong, like the air conditioner breaking, she had to pay for it. So Julia asked herself, shouldn't I be making money from my house? But deep down, her house wasn't an asset. It was a liability. She was spending money on it instead of making money with it. Now let's talk about Gabriel. He was much more strategic. When Gabriel bought his house, he didn't just buy anything. He chose to invest in a property that could generate passive income. He bought a small house with enough space to split into 2 apartments and rented both out. Every month, the tenants paid rent, which helped cover the mortgage payments. And there was still a good amount left over. What's the difference between the two? Mindset. Julia believed her house was an asset, something she owned and that would increase in value over time. Gabriel, on the other hand, knew that houses and cars, as important as they are for comfort, are not assets unless they generate profit. Robert Kiyosaki teaches us that the rich buy assets first, things that generate income. They only buy liabilities after they have enough assets to support those purchases. So, if you want to change your financial reality, the first question you should ask before buying anything is, will this generate income, or will it cost me more? That's why many wealthy people don't go around buying big houses and luxury cars while they still don't have passive income streams. They know that until they build a portfolio of assets, everything else is just debt. And this doesn't mean you have to give up on your dream house or your dream car. The secret is to acquire those liabilities only after you have enough assets to sustain them. Want a clearer example? Imagine you have a small rental property. The monthly rent covers your home expenses, and there's even some left over. Now you have freedom. When you go to buy a new car, it won't be a burden on your budget because the passive income you've generated will cover that expense. The mindset of investing in assets first will allow you to buy whatever you want in the future without worrying about debt. So how about taking the first step now? What can you invest in that would generate passive income? Maybe a small retirement account, stocks, rental properties, or even a business that brings profit over time. The key is not to fall into the trap of confusing liabilities with assets. That's what separates people who are just working to pay the bills from those who are building real wealth. This is one of the major barriers many people face: the fear of investing. A lot of people look at the investment market as a dangerous place, an unknown land full of risks and disappointments. But the truth is, the fear of investing often comes from a lack of knowledge. Now imagine this: you're in a fruit store and on the shelf there's a shiny, red, perfect apple. The price is great. It looks like a great choice, but something holds you back from picking it up. You think, what if it's not actually good? What if I bite it and it's sour? What if it has something wrong with it that I can't see? That's the same feeling many people have when they think about investing their money. The fear of losing or not understanding what they're doing keeps them from taking action. Let's talk about a real example. Marcos and Lara. Both had the same amount of money to invest, but they made completely different decisions. Marcos had heard about an investment fund that was showing great results. He knew he could get a good return, but the idea of putting his money there made him hesitate. He felt incapable of understanding how investments worked, so whenever an opportunity came up, he would tell himself, "This is too risky. I don't know enough. It's better to leave my money in savings. At least I know it's safe." Meanwhile, Lara, who also had money available to invest, wasn't afraid to get informed. She didn't have all the answers right away, but she did what many wealthy people do. She started with the basics. She studied, took free online courses about investing, followed experts, and began investing small amounts, just to learn from experience. In the beginning, Lara faced some challenges, but she didn't give up. She learned how to analyze risks, make more informed decisions, and most importantly, she understood the power of compound interest and how time can help multiply investments. Today, Lara has a diversified investment portfolio that works for her, while Marcos still has his money sitting in a savings account, earning nothing. The fear of investing not only kept him stagnant, but also caused him to miss out on growth opportunities. Fear, when not confronted, can be your greatest financial enemy. The good news is that this fear can be overcome, and the path is simpler than it seems. The first step is to understand that investing doesn't mean gambling on something unknown and dangerous. It actually means putting your money to work for you. Robert Kiyosaki strongly emphasizes the importance of investing and learning before investing your money. He always says, you don't have to be an expert, but you do have to be willing to learn. And what happens when you learn? You become more confident. You start making safer decisions and feel more prepared to face risk, which in reality isn't so big when you're informed. You don't need to invest millions right away. Start with small amounts. The important thing is to take the first step, test things out and learn. Every mistake is a lesson and every success a reward. So the next time you feel that fear of the unknown, remember, the real risk is not starting. Those who master the art of investing are the ones who understand that money doesn't work on its own. It needs you to learn and make the right choices. Have you ever felt overwhelmed thinking about investments? Looked at the financial market and saw a bunch of confusing jargon and graphs and thought, this isn't for me. I don't know anything about it. The fear of the unknown is one of the biggest barriers people face when it comes to money. And the good news is, you don't need to be an expert to start investing. The secret lies in understanding that knowledge reduces risk. It may sound contradictory, right? After all, if you don't know what you're doing, how can you reduce risk? The answer is, take the first step and start with the basics. Let's look at a simple example. Daniel and Paula. Daniel was always very cautious with money. He worked hard, earned a good salary, but always left his money in a checking account. He didn't like taking risks, so he preferred the safety of a savings account, believing that was where he'd be protected. However, over time, he noticed that inflation was eating away at his money's purchasing power. Prices kept rising, and his account balance stayed almost the same. He asked himself, if I keep going like this, my money will disappear. Paula, on the other hand, knew nothing about investing at first, but she knew she needed to learn. So she decided to start with the basics. She looked for simple content about stocks, real estate funds, and even began investing in an index fund, an investment that follows the market in a diversified and less risky way. Of course, at first she didn't know much. She took some online courses, read books, and followed experts on social media. But the key was taking the first step, and she did that with a small investment. Gradually, Paula gained confidence. Each small win in the market helped her understand how things worked. She learned how to analyze the market and saw investing as a way to grow her money, not just protect what she already had. Today, Paula has a diversified portfolio, and she realizes the risk isn't in investing, but in doing nothing. Over time, she became more aware and less dependent on external factors like inflation. Instead of getting anxious about market volatility, she understands that investing is, indeed, volatile. But with education, you can minimize risks and make smarter decisions. Daniel, on the other hand, is still stuck in the safety mindset. He knows his bank account is safe, but he also knows his purchasing power is shrinking. The fear of investing kept him stuck. So, what can you learn from this? What separates Paula from Daniel isn't how much money they have. It's their mindset and commitment to learning. Remember, knowledge is the key to transforming insecurity into confidence. The risk of investing decreases significantly as you learn more about what you're doing. Now that you've learned about the financial habits that might be holding you back, it's time to take the first step. Remember, the secret to stepping out of your comfort zone and starting to build wealth lies in changing your mindset and constantly learning. As we've seen, fear of investing, spending without planning, and focusing only on hard work won't get you where you want to go. But the good news is that you can start changing that right now. So are you ready to put everything you've learned into practice? Share these tips with your friends, family, and colleagues who could also benefit from this financial transformation. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, leave your comment, and subscribe to the channel to receive more content like this, with valuable tips and insights to improve your finances and reach your goals. Now it's up to you. Make the decision to change your financial life and start today. What did you think of the tips? Are you ready to implement any of these habits into your routine? Leave a comment below and share this journey with those who need to hear this advice. Let's grow together.